Welcome back to the extended version of The County Seat here on thecountyseat.tv, our website. We're continuing our discussion about federal agencies versus state agencies or local agencies in law enforcement. Conversation about House Bill 146. And again, continuing with this, Sheriff Eldredge, Commissioner Lyman from San Juan County. So let's talk about recapture for just a minute. We've got a nice little trail. I don't know if any of you have been to Blanding, but just barely outside of Blanding, I mean, like literally in the suburbs, is an area called Recapture Reservoir. And it's a nice little lake, great for fishing, and there are trails and roads that run off of that area. Mm-hmm. Literally just a block or two, or within eyesight of people's homes, actually, in some places. What happened at Recapture?
Well, a little bit of history on Recapture. There's a lot of farm ground out to the east of Blanding. Then you got the community of Blanding, and there's a strip of BLM that runs down Recapture Canyon. The ranchers and the farmers, rather than going all the way around Recapture to the north or to the south, built a trail that came down through Recapture, and there'd been other trails coming up Recapture for cattle trails and things. So, but the trail construction took place 80, 90, maybe even 100 years ago in some instances, to go up the east side of the canyon and come across the Dugway. So that trail's been used for years, and it was an open area. San Juan County was considered open area until 2008, when the BLM basically turned that over and said, no, it's a closed area unless designated open. But
in all honesty, they did that across the board everywhere.
Right. Yeah,
cross-country
everywhere.
travel.
Yep. And
disappeared.
And we accept that. We accept that. So then we had designated trails, and the construction that was being done on the trail, actually in 2005, 2006, 2007, was being monitored by some concerned citizens,
special interest groups.
Yeah, and they brought it to the BLM's attention. They did an emergency closure, did an assessment, came out with their damages report. 6 sites there that total up to damages of $439,000. And if you go out on the trail to see what those damages are, you can't detect them. You would not see them. There's a stain in the ground for an old fire pit. It's a site. Whether it's 50 years old or 1,500 years old, that's considered a site, and it had to be evaluated, and that was the $439,000 of damage. The 2 gentlemen that they prosecuted had the choice of a federal fine, felony
charge,
with a $100,000 fine, a year in prison, or to plea bargain to a lesser charge, which they did, and ended up with a $35,000 fine, which again felt to the whole community like it was really a heavy-handed, just over the top.
And the damage that they did in trail improvements, to explain them, what were they?
Well, we took a walk down there approximately a month ago with 60, 80 citizens from the Blanding and Monticello area to view the damages, and we couldn't see any damages. We know of a small bridge that was constructed by the gentleman cutting down a couple of posts, they were fined for cutting those posts down and building a bridge for the ATVs to cross a wash. But we could not see any damages. I mean, a good rainstorm, we felt, would do more damage in washing things out than what these gentlemen did. They did it as an improvement to allow the ATVs to pass through this trail, and we could not see any damage whatsoever to archaeological sites or anything.
This may go back to the sniper rifle analogy. An improvement may be an improvement to multiple use users, but if you're a wilderness advocate, that sort of improvement would be damage, would it not? So again, it's a subjective, but that does raise a question. Is law enforcement and fines supposed to be subjective or objective?
Well, I think
it shouldn't be subjective.
Yeah, definitely should be objective, and I think it's important that the people of Blanding value this resource, immensely. Mm-hmm. It's not as though we look down on cultural resources. We value them tremendously. That's why it's one of the reasons why a lot of people live in San Juan County. It's so rich in cultural resources. And the message that kind of comes from some of the environmental groups is, well, you you don't care about this, we need to come in and manage this because you're doing such a poor job of it. And then they use recapture and try to show it as tremendous damage being done that really was an improvement to a trail that reduced the amount of damage done that's going over that trail. The use had been there for years and years. You used to take a vehicle down that road, and people have for cattle purposes in years past. So, so the perspective on this, I guess legitimately, those who want wilderness might see that as damages, but the fact remains that it was a local issue and should have been dealt with on a local level.
There are some claims made by people, particularly in the rural part of the state, that in particular the BLM is moving away from a multiple-use mission to a single-use mission for land management. Does this tie into, I mean, do you start to come to that same conclusion with the enforcement of things like recapture?
Oh, absolutely. Roads are being closed left and right, whether it's BLM or on forest. People that, enjoy hunting, camping, going out and cutting wood, you cannot leave the roadway further than 150 feet to go and get wood now. And, a family may go out camping and come to their favorite camping spot, and that road's closed. And so they'll go out and find a new spot to camp or to hunt or whatever it may be, and that road may be closed a few years later. It's just a constant restriction of tightening down and taking things away from people that for generations roads that have been there.
Back on the recapture issue, if the county had been called, if your office had been called and said something's happened out on the trail, my posts are cut down or something like that, I mean, how would you have approached that? Was there anything done wrong out there? I mean, was there a legitimate fine of any sort?
Yeah, if I'd have been called to go out there and to see exactly what had happened, if somebody was riding off a trail, if they're tearing up the land, I'll write them a ticket for it. I'll take care of it. In this case, I did not see any damage. The men tried to do improvements to the trail, so they say. In that case, no, I wouldn't have done anything because I feel that they did improvements to the trail.
Who owned the posts that got cut down?
Well, it would be on federal land. Okay. So, and they were actually charged for felonies for cutting down those posts. One post was a felony.
Well, and this is, as we were kind of talking about earlier, to take that into the federal realm is where it seems to cross the line, because the law is pretty clear before ARPA, it's called don't steal. And if you want to go on federal land and get wood, you get a permit. If you want to remove things from federal property, we don't say, hey, that's ours, we can do whatever we want with it. But it should be a local law enforcement issue.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, I guess that's it.
I think we covered it.
I think we covered it all. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us for this extended version. Remember, most of the episodes of the County Seat have these extended pods at the end of them where we continue off-air the discussion. So check it out frequently, thecountyseat.tv. Thanks. We'll see you later.